Okay, Aditya, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, and where are the rest of the students? Enjoying
I
the weather?
hope they will. I don't know.
Okay, okay. Let us wait for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will start.
Yes.
Students, we will wait for 1 more minute, and then we will start. Okay, is my screen visible? Yes. Okay. Okay. So in the previous day, we were discussing about the lists, concept of lists in the case of Python, and we have studied the basics of list. How do we iterate over a list? How do we define a list? These kind of things. Also, we were seeing some inbuilt methods in the case of lists. So we had methods such as sort. We had methods such as length. We had methods we did something called as a list comprehensions and all these kind of things. Okay, so today what we will do is, so I guess in the previous class we did till this slide. Kindly confirm whether we did till this slide or not, if any one of you can confirm. Anyone? Did you forget what we did in the next previous class? Just a second, let me check. Yes, we did till this slide in the previous class. Okay, so today what we will do is we will yes, okay. So today what we will do is we will continue with lists, and we will try and finish lists. Actually, we will finish lists by today, and after this class you have the class of Anupam sir. So Anupam sir will discuss with you a very important aspect of lists, and those are known as NumPy arrays. So NumPy is another a very important aspect or very important application of how do we use a list in actual data science platforms or NLP platforms or big data platforms. Okay. So again, let us try and finish lists very quickly. So, so in the previous class, we had seen that there is a Pythonic method by which we can sort a list. Okay. So what were the methods? So this was the method. So either we can sort if we write this list dot sort, it means it will just sort the list based on ascending order. Okay. So again, if I just give the concept of key, and if I want that all the elements of a list should be first converted into non-capital forms, and then it must be sorted. So again, we can give an argument in the method sort, and that argument is what key is equal to str dot lower. And lastly, we have previously seen that using the slicing method, we can reverse a list. Also, there is a inbuilt method in the case of Python, in the case of Python lists, where if we write this list dot reverse, we can just sort the list. Okay. Or we can just reverse print the list in reverse order. Okay. Next is, we can also write a customized sort function like this. So if you see this example, the first example, what does this example mean? Let us see first. So first and foremost, we have a list. So this list is equal to, for example, so we have 5 elements: 100, 50, 65, 82, and 23. Okay. Now what we want is, we want that, okay, first and foremost, we will take each element, we will subtract each element by 50. Okay. And we will have the results of each element. Okay. What's the chat all about? Just tell me. There was no need to give the attendance here. We will share the form at the end of the class, and then there you can give the attendance. Okay. So what we do here is we just take all the elements of this list. What we do is we will just subtract 50 from every element of the list, and we will store the results. And based on the result of the subtraction, we will sort the list. So for example, if I take this element 100 and we divide it, we subtract it by 50, so the result will be what? 50. Again, if we take 50, the result will be 0. If we take 65, it will be 15. If we take 82, it will be what? 32. If we take 23, it will be in minus. It will be in negative. Okay. So after we get these values, and if we sort this in ascending order, so obviously the negative result that we get will be sorted or will be kept first if we sort the list in ascending order, right? Then the element that is 50 will be kept second. Why? Because the result is 0. Then the element 65 will be kept. Why? Because the result is 15. Then 82 will be kept. Why? Because the result is 32, right? And lastly 100 will be kept. Why? Because the result is 50. Okay. So in this way, we are sorting a list in ascending order. So how do we do this? Let us understand. So first and foremost, we will have this list, and after defining this list, what we will do is we will just write this list dot sort, where in the argument, so in the previous example, you saw that we gave key is equal to str dot lower, right? So in this case, we will use a custom function. And what is this custom function? We will write key is equal to the custom function, that is my function. Okay. And in this my function, what we have done is, so what does this function say? It says that it will take one argument as n. Now what is that argument? Every element of this list. Okay. So first and foremost, the value of n will be 100. Okay. And what will it return? It will return 100 minus 50. So it will return what? 50. Okay. Then what will it do? The next element will be taken. So n will be equal to 50. So the result will be what? What will be returned? It will be 0. Then it will be 65. So what will be returned? 15. Okay. Then it will be 82. What will be returned? 32. And lastly, we have 23. So the negative value of 23 minus 50 will be returned. Okay. And based on whatever we have returned, we will sort the list in ascending order. And lastly, we will print the list. So let us just see this example. It will be much more clearer to you. So if I just write Python, let me just zoom this. Okay. So first and foremost, what I will do is I will write a function known as my function, right? And I will take the argument as n. Okay. And whenever we have a function, so in the case of Python, whenever we have a function, we will just similarly we will just indent the scope. Okay. So which means if I have a function, so we will use the keyword define. So how do we use functions and everything, we will see in the later classes. So just for now, just to understand that whenever we are defining a function, first we will use the keyword def, so that is define. I will write the name of the function and I will just give the arguments of the function inside. Okay, and I will use a colon, right? Since we will use the scope, so again using the for loop as well, we used a colon. Using the if then if else statements as well, we will use a colon. So whenever we want to define a scope, we will use a colon. Okay, so if I write a colon and if I press enter, I will give four spaces and I will write return n minus 50. Okay, so the function has been defined. Okay, now suppose we have a this list where I will give the values as, let us see the values here. The values were 100, comma 50, comma 65, 82, and 23. Okay, just a second. Okay, now what we will do is we will write this list dot sort. So we will write the key and value concept. So key will be equal to what? The custom function that we have written. Okay, so it will be equal to my function. Okay, and now if we print the this list, so again we will see that this is the result. So what's the result? What does the result look like? It will be it. What does the result mean? It means that whenever we are subtracting 23 with 50, so result will be in negative. So that is the smallest. So it will be kept at first. Then we will have 50. So 50 minus 50 will be 0. So 0 is less than or greater than negative, but less than all the other values. So it will be kept at second. Then we have 65. Why? Because the result of 65 minus 50 is 15. So it is kept at third. Then we have 82. Why? Because the result of 82 minus 50 will be 32. It is kept at the second last. And lastly, we will have 100. Why? Because the result of n minus 100 minus 50 will be actually 50. So by this way, we are actually sorting this list. Okay. I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay. Next is another concept. So we have a function called as sort. We have another method called as sorted. Okay, and you can see the syntax here. So first and foremost, the syntax will be what? The iterable that we will have. Okay. Now, what is the iterable? We all know the iterable is a variable that will iterate through all the values of a list. Okay, so that is first and foremost we will have to give the iterable. Then we will have to give the key. So again, if I use a custom function like this, we can give a key like this. Okay. And lastly, we have a reverse argument that is actually a Boolean value. Now, what's the Boolean value? It will be either set to false or it will be set to what? True. So if it is set to false, the list will be sorted in ascending order. Sorry, in normal direction. And if it is set to true, the list will be printed in a reverse direction. So again, if you have this list, so let us have this list first. Just a second. See, we just copy this list. Okay, and if I write sorted, what's the iterable here? This list, right? And suppose in key, suppose we don't give anything, and suppose in reverse also we don't give anything. So if I write just this, you can see that it is getting sorted. Okay. Again, if I just copy this and I paste this again, and now suppose I write reverse equal to true. If this is the case, then the list will be printed in a reverse direction. So you can see this. Okay. Okay, got it. Reverse means actually what? Descending order. So it will sort in the descending order. Okay. Okay. So okay. So we can also copy a list. Okay. So there is a method called as copy. So make a copy of a list with the copy method. So how does this method work? So again, if I have a list like this, so this list will be equal to, it has three elements: apple, banana, and cherry. And we just write my list equal to this list dot copy, which means in my list we are copying the elements of this list. And again, if I print my list, it will be, the variables will be copied. So again, let us check this whether this happens or not. So suppose this list will have three elements, for example apple, What's the message? Just a second. Arshia, again, don't give the attendance now. We will share the form. You can give the attendance there. Okay, so we will have apple, for example. Then we will have cherry, and lastly, suppose we have banana like this. Okay. Uh, okay. Someone has unmuted himself. Who is that? Aditya. Aditya, mute yourself. Yep. Okay. Okay. So again, suppose I have I have a new list called as my list, right? And I just want to copy the elements of this list into my list. Okay. So what I will do is I will just write my list is equal to this list dot copy. So if I write this and if I print my list now, again you can see that in my list the elements of this list has been copied. Okay. So again we can use a method called as copy to copy the elements of a list into another list. Okay. So another way to make a copy is to use the inbuilt method list. Okay. So again, what's the chat all about? Or don't give the attendance now. Don't give the attendance in the chat box. Okay. So another way to make a copy is using the inbuilt method.
Sir,
Tell me. Tell me.
sir, I'm asking. I mean, you will share the slides after the class, right? I'm confirming that.
Yes. So now you can leave, right? So you will
No,
leave
sir.
now.
So that I cannot. I am not taking screenshots. Not leaving the.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
taking
Don't. No. No.
screenshots.
No.
Okay.
No need to take.
If you will.
I will share the PPT as well as whatever we are teaching. We are recording the video. I will share the video as well. Have you joined the classroom?
Okay.
Have you joined the classroom? Google Classroom?
The
No.
classroom for
No,
this
sir.
placement class?
Yes.
No, sir, we did not get any class.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I
At
don't
the end
have
of the
code
end of the class, I will give you the attendance form as well as I will give you the Google Classroom code. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Many of you have joined. Some of you have not joined. So again, I will give you the
Sir, we
code.
are there in the classroom.
Sorry.
Yes, sir, we are there in the classroom.
Yes. Some of you are there. Some of you are not there. So again, at the end of the class, I will give you the code. You can join the classroom. You will find everything. You will find the PPTs as well as you will find the recorded video lectures as well. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. 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 So another way to make a copy is using the inbuilt list method. So again, if I see this, let us see the example. Just a second. Let us see the example. So suppose I have this list. Sorry, I have this list. So this is this list, and again I have my list. So first and foremost, what I will do is I will delete my list. Okay, so now if I print my list, so again you can see that my list is not there. Okay, so we have this list. So either we can use the copy method, or what we can do is we can use another method, the built-in list method. Okay, so in this scenario, what we will do is we will just write my list is equal to. So I will write list. It means what? My list actually a list. What is the list? It will be just the copy of what? This list. So if again after this, if I print my list, so again you can see that the list has been copied. Okay. Okay. The next thing that we will see here is that there are several ways to join or concatenate two or more Python lists. Okay. So, and the easiest way to do this is using the plus operator. So again, if you can see here that we have two lists. So again, let us write the code. So if I have this list as A, the second element, let us say it is B, and the third element is C. So this is one list. So list, and suppose I have list 2, which is actually what? 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So here we have two lists. One is list and one is list 2. List has have character values, and list 2 has numerical values. And again, if I just have a list 3, and if I just want to add list and list 2 here, so what I will do is I will just write list plus list 2 like this. Okay, and now if I print list 3, you will be able to see that all the lists, both the lists have been added and they have been stored in list 3. Okay, so this is one way of how we can concatenate two lists using the plus operator. Okay. Okay. Okay, another way to join two lists are by appending all the items from list 2 into list 1. Okay, so again, let us see this example. This is not a straightforward example. The previous one was a straightforward way. Just by adding the plus sign, we can add the two lists. In this method, what we will do is we will again use the concept of a loop. Okay, so again, if I have list 1 is equal to a comma a comma b and c, and again list 2 we already have it as 1, 2 and 3. So what I will do is I will just take a for loop. So for I means the iterable in list 2. Okay, so I will give 4 spaces, right? So what I will do is I will write list 1 is equal to list 1 dot append of what? I. So what is I in this case? I will be the every element of list 2. So I will take every element of list 2 and I will just append it in list 1. So if I just do this, and now if I print list 1 like this, so you can see that all the elements have been appended to the list 1. Okay, so this is a not a straightforward way, but using a loop also we can do the same thing. Okay, also we can use the extend method, and which purpose is to add elements from one list to another list. Okay, so using the extend method, what we can do is, so again if I have list 1, so we have list 1. Okay, if any one of you can tell me how we can delete the last 3 elements of this list 1, if you remember, tell me.
Sir, pop.
Using remove.
Using pop, or using what? Another way was there?
Remove.
The remove. Okay, so let us say that we will use pop here. So what I will write? I will write list 1 dot pop of what? Suppose I want to remove 1. So what will I do?
Index of 1.
Index of 1 or only 1?
Only 1.
Only 1. Okay, let us see. Will it work? Confirm. Will I use only 1 or will I use the index of 1? No idea. What about the rest? Tell me. Will I use the index of 1 or we will just write 1 itself?
Sir, I think index of 1.
Index
Sir,
of 1.
index of 1.
Yes, okay. So what's the index of 1? So it is 0, 1, 2. So this is 3, right? So if I
Three.
just write 3, so you can see that 1 has been popped. Okay. So again, if I write 3 again, so since 1 has been popped, so now at the third index, 2 will be there. So again, if I write pop of 3, you can see that 2 will be popped. Again, if I do this, you can see that 3 will be popped. Okay. So now if I write list of 1, it will be A, B, and C. And again, if I have list of 2, it will be what? 1, 2, and 3. So again, another method to add elements from one list to another list is using the extend method. Okay. So what I can do is I can write list 1 dot extend of what? List 2. So again, if I do this, what does it mean? It means that the elements of list 2 will be appended to the list 1. So again, if I just press enter and if I again print list of 1, you can see that the same thing has been happening here as well. Okay. Okay. There are other methods. There are some bonus methods. So this is the last slide of lists. So what are these bonus methods? So we have written 2. There are multiple of them. You can search any. You can search Google. You can take example from Python tutorial books. There are various inbuilt methods that are there in Python. But whatever we are teaching is these are the normally we use in our day-to-day programming lives. Okay. Okay. So the first method is count. So what does this count method do? It will just return. What's the chat? Okay. Okay. So again, first and foremost, we will have the count method. So what does it do? It will just return the number of elements with the specified value, which means if I want to calculate, so suppose in list 1, suppose I append another A, for example. So now if I print list 1, you can see that there are 2 A's. Okay. Now if I want to count the number of A's in list 1, okay. So what I will do is I will write list 1 dot count. What will I count? I will just give the value. So A. So you can see that there are 2 A's, right? If I want to search that how many 3's are there in this list. So again I will write list 1 dot count of 3. So it will be equal to 1 and so on. Okay. So if you know the value of a variable, and if you want to find out the number of occurrence of that variable in that list, so we can use the count method. Okay. Okay. Next method is what? The index method. So again, you can see the previously we just calculated by going from the first, we calculated the index of 1, right? So again, if I don't want to do that, if I don't want to look like a fool, so which I made of myself, so if I don't want to do that, what I can do is I can just write list of 1 dot index of what? 1. So if I just go write this, I can see that the index of 3. I will not have to count from 0 and then go to 3 and then delete and then pop 3. Okay. So this is another bonus method that we have to count the index of element that the value of which we know. Okay. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of the lists in Python. So again, as I said earlier, that in Anupam sir class today, you will be able to see that what is the real world example or real world application of the lists that we studied in 2 days. Okay, the real world example is nothing but NumPy arrays, and you will see how it works actually. Okay, in NumPy arrays, you will see how we slice the lists, how we sort the lists, how we create an array for taking data as input to any deep learning method or any machine learning method. Okay, so you will see all these kind of things. So that's a very interesting thing actually that you will see in that class. Okay, anyways, so let's move forward. So next topic that we will study today is something called as dictionary. So again, one of the 4 inbuilt data types or that we have in Python. So the dictionaries are actually very essential whenever we are doing deep learning applications or machine learning applications. So again, using a dictionary, what we can do is, so using a dictionary is generally used to store data values in key value pairs. Okay. Now, what are these key value pairs? We will see in the next example. So, and they are obviously written in what? Curly brackets. So in the case of lists, we write it in square brackets, and in the case of dictionary, generally we write it in curly brackets. Okay. So in this example, we can see that if we have a variable called as this dict, and if it begins with a curly bracket and ends with a curly bracket, so it means that the variable this list is actually what? Is actually a dictionary. Okay. So again, whenever we have, suppose we have a we write this list equal to opening curly bracket and a closing curly bracket, so it means that this list is actually what? A dictionary. So if I print the type of this list, so again you can see that this list is actually now a dictionary. Okay. So if I just initialize or if I just declare the variable with a opening and a closing curly bracket, it means it's a dictionary. Okay. And again, we can initialize a dictionary like this. So again, you can see that the elements that are there in the dictionary, so that will be separated by commas. So individual elements of a dictionary will be separated by what? Commas. And every element will be in the form of what? Key value pairs. Okay, will be in the form of key value pairs. Now again, what's the key here? So the key here is actually what? Brand. So brand is the key. And what is the value of that key? It is Ford. Okay, so Ford is the value, brand is the key. Okay, then suppose in the next element we have model equal to Mustang. So it means what? Model is the key, Mustang is the value, right? And again, if we have year and 1964, it means year is what? The key, and value of the key year is actually what? 1964. Okay, so again, if I just print this, so it will be much more easier for you to understand. So if I have this list or this dict, for example, so this dict equal to, so it will be opening and a closing curly bracket, and now we will declare the elements. So first element is what? In the key value format, it will be equal to what? Brand, right? And the value will be what? Ford. Okay. So again, we are separating all the elements using a comma. So in the next element, what's the key? The key is actually model, right? And what's the value? Value is, for example, Mustang, like this. Okay, and again we will separate the element using a comma. And lastly, we have the element in which the key, the value of the key is what? Year. And what's the value of this key? It will be what? 1964. Okay. So if I print this dict, you can see that it is printing the same thing. Okay. So again, you can see that in a dictionary, what we can do is we can store anything, which means it does not mean that it is a homogeneous variable. It is a heterogeneous variable, which means we can store anything. We can store Boolean values, we can store integers, we can store floating point numbers, we can store characters, we can store arrays, right? We can store other dictionaries as well. Okay. So again, dictionary is nothing but is a heterogeneous data type in which we can store anything that we like. Okay. Now again, you can see that a dictionary is nothing but a collection which is ordered. So again, if I say ordered, and if you remember the case with the lists, so what we said, what is the meaning of ordered? Ordered means that in whatever order we will be inserting element into a dictionary, that order will be maintained, right? That is the meaning of ordered. Second is what? Changeable, which means a dictionary, unlike a string, is mutable. So again, we have studied strings first. So strings was immutable, it cannot be changed. So whenever we are using methods like replace in the case of strings, what was happening? A copy of that string was being made, and then in that copy, the replace method was actually working on. So the actual string will not change, which means a string is actually immutable. But but if we come to the lists, or we come to the dictionaries, it is what? Actually, it is mutable, which means it can be, the values of a list and a dictionary can be changed. Okay. And also it does not allow duplicates. Okay. So in the case of lists, we saw that a list actually allows duplicates, right? A string actually allows duplicates, but in the case of a dictionary will not allow duplicates. Okay. So again, let us see this example. So again, if this was the thing that I was storing, so again, if I just write, if I give a comma here, sorry, if I give a comma here, and again, if I give a key value pair, so again, if I write year, right, and I will give 1956, for example. So there are two elements with the key values as year. Okay. So if I just press enter, so again, if I print this dict, you can see that only one element with the key year is actually stored. Okay, which means a dictionary will not allow for duplicate values. Whatever is the latest value, that will be stored in the key. Okay. So in this case, we can see that the previous value was 1964, the latest value is 1956. So again, you can see that the latest value is being stored in the stored as value in for the key year. Okay. Okay. So again, we said that for a string, for a list, as well as for a dictionary, we can have a universal Python function, that is len, that is to print the length of the dictionary. So again, if I just print the len of this dictionary, so if I will write len of this dict. So again, you can see that the number of elements in this dictionary is actually 3. Okay, but all the elements will have two values. One is for the key and one is for the value. Okay. Okay. Okay, let us move forward. Again, as we discussed earlier, the values in dictionary items can be of any data type. So again, you can see in this example that there is a variable called as this dict, and it's a dictionary. We can see that because it is starting with a curly bracket, ending with a curly bracket. Okay, and there are 4 elements here. Okay, and the first element, the key of the first element is actually what? Brand. The value of the next element of the first element is what? Ford. Okay, the key of the second element is what? Electric. The value of the second element is actually false. So you can see in the first value, it's a string. The next value, it's a Boolean value. It can be either true or it can be either false. Okay, then we have another element in which the key is actually what? A year, right? But the value here is a integer variable, right? So it is 1964, it's an integer. Okay, and lastly, we will have the fourth element in which the key is what? Colors, but the value here is actually what? A list, right? And what will the list have? A list will have actually what? Various it will have 3 strings. Okay, so you can see that in the values of dictionary items can be of any data type. So that is what we have discussed earlier. It can be a dictionary as well, it can be a tuple as well, okay, it can be a set as well, okay. So whatever we want, we can store in a dictionary. So the values can have any data type that we want to use, okay. And again, lastly, to print the data type of a dictionary, we use the type function. So we have done this. So if we just print the type of this dict, it will print what? Class of, it will print that it's a dictionary class. Okay. Okay. Let us move forward. Okay. So you can access the items of a dictionary by referring to the key name inside a square bracket. Okay. So let us see this example. So suppose so this, I have this dictionary, so it is this dict, and there are various elements where we have the keys and the values. Okay. Now suppose from in this dict I want to access the value for the key brand. Okay. So what will I do? I will use a square bracket in this case. Okay. And inside the square bracket, what I will write? I will write the value of the key. So what is the key here? It is brand. So if I just write brand like this, and if I press enter, it will return me the value of that specific key. Okay. Which means if I just write here in this case, so again it will return me 1956. Why? Because for the specific key here, the value for the specific key is what? 1956. Okay. To again, so which means again, if I want to access the value of any key, we will just have to specify that key in that in a square bracket. Okay. So again, if I just, you can see in this example that if I write x equal to this dict of model, so model in this case is Mustang. So x now will be equal to what? Mustang. Okay. Okay. There is also a method called get. Okay. That will give you the same result. So again, if I don't use if I don't want to use a square bracket, so which means if I write this dict, sorry, this dict of get, and what will be inside get? The value of the key. So again, if I write brand, it will give you the value of the key as well. Okay. So again, using the get method, we can do the same thing as whatever we were doing using the square bracket method. Okay. Again, the keys method will return the list of all the keys in the dictionary, which means if I write this dict dot keys, okay, and if I just write this, it will print what? The various keys that I have in the elements of the dictionary. So again, you can see that the keys were what? Brand, it was model, and it was year. So again, it is printing what? In a list, it will print the keys that are there in the dictionary. Okay. Okay. Uh, whenever we want to add new elements to the dictionary, so what we can do is, so again, you can see that add a new item to the original dictionary and see the key list get updated as well. So which means, so suppose in the previous example, so if I take this dict, so this is the values of this dict. Okay. Now what I can do is I can write this dict dot keys. So if I write this, you can see that there are 3 keys. Okay. Now suppose I write that this dict, and we have a new, for example, key. So if I want to insert a new key, what we will do is we'll just use the square bracket like this. And suppose we are saying that the name of the new key is color. Okay. And and we will say that what's the value of the new key color. So suppose let us say it is white, like this. Okay. So now if I print this dict, you can see that an element has been added with the key as color and the value as white. Okay. So now if I print this dict dot keys, again you can see that in the previous case it was printing 3 keys, but in this case it is actually printing what? 4 keys. Okay. Okay. I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay. Now, so as there is a method called as keys, there's also a method for getting the values as well. Okay. And that the method is known as what? Values. Okay. So now again, if I print this dict dot values, again you can see that instead of the keys, we can print the values also like this. Okay. So for the keys, we will use the keys method. For getting the values, we will use the values method. Okay. I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay. Next is, that to make the change in original dictionary and see the value list gets updated as well. So again, this is the same example, which means if I just add a new element, so using the values method we can get the values, and using the keys methods we can get the keys. It is the same example as that of the previous one. Okay, so I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay, now again there is a method called as items. Now till now specifically we can see only the keys of a dictionary, as well as we can see the values of a dictionary. Okay, but with the help of the items method, what we can do is we can write this list or this dict dot items. If I write this again, so you can see that in a list form and in a tuple form we are actually getting what, the name of the keys as well as the name of the values. Okay, am I clear? I hope I'm clear till this. Okay, so again there are three inbuilt methods. One is keys, one is values, and one is what, items, that we can have in a dictionary. Okay, okay. To determine if a specific key is present in a dictionary or not, we can use the in keyword. So similarly, as in the case with lists, we have used the in keyword. Also in the case of dictionary, we can use the in keyword. Okay, so suppose if I have this dict like this, so this is the dictionary that we have, and suppose if I want to find out if the key model is present in the dictionary or not. So if I write if model in this dict, okay, so then what will I write? I will give 4 spaces. I will write print model is one of the keys. Okay, so we can do this. We can use the in keyword to find out that whether a key or a value is present in the list or not. Okay, similarly we have done this for the list, for the keys. Let us see whether it works for the values or not. So again, if I write if, so one of the values is Ford. So if Ford is present, Ford in this dict, so again we can write print Ford is one of the values. So we can see that for this only works for the keys and not for the values. Okay, so this only works for the keys and not for the values. Okay, so in method will only work for the keys and not for the values. Again, you can change the value of a specific item by referring to its key name. Okay, so here what we can do is, so suppose I have this dict like this, and suppose the color is equal to white. Now suppose I want to change the color to red actually. So what I can do is I can write this dict, and in the square bracket, so we want to access the key, so we will write what, color, right? And it was white, so suppose now we want to change it to red. So if I write this, okay, and then if I print this dict again, you can see that the color has been changed from white to red. Okay, so we can change the value of a key like this. Okay, okay, you can also use the update method. Okay, so let us see what the update method does actually. So in the update method, so in this method what we did was we just took the name of the key, and we just replaced the value with something else. Okay, but in the update method we will have to update the whole thing, update the whole item. So in this case, suppose I have this dict like this, and suppose now I want to update the year to 2020. So for this, so what we can do is we can write this dict, we will use the update method. So we can use update, and again whenever we use the update method, we will have to give the update in the form of a dictionary. So we will use the curly bracket like this, and we will write what, year, the year was 1956, so we will write what, year is equal to now 2020. So if I write this, and now if I print this dict, so you can see that the year has been changed to 2020 now. Okay, so again we can use the update method as well. Okay, now again Adding elements to the dictionary is done by using a new index key. So we have already shown this. So again, if I want to update, we want to add some elements into into this dictionary. What we can do is, suppose in this dictionary I want to add this dict, and we can write, for example, type, and we can write that the type is actually what, nothing but electric, for example. So if we write this, and now if I print this dict, you can see that a new element has been added with the key as type and the value as electric. So we can do that as well. Okay. Okay, next. So again, you can add items using the update method as well. Okay. So again, using the update method, we can add items. So we have seen this in the previous example as well. Okay. And now there are several methods to remove items from a dictionary. So there is a pop method. Okay. So how will I use this? So I will inside the pop in the arguments, what I will do, I will just write the name of the key. Okay. So suppose I write this dict dot pop, and suppose I want to remove the element with the key as type. Okay. So what I will do is I will write type. Okay. And if I press enter, you can see that electric has been popped now. Okay. So electric was the value. So again, if I print this dict, you can see that the element with key as type and value as electric has been removed. Okay. So we can use the pop method as well here. We use the pop method in the case of a list. So again, in this in the scenario of the dictionary, we can use the pop method where we can give the value of the key only, and then the whole key value pair will be deleted from the list. Okay, from the dictionary. Okay. Next is we have another method called as pop item. Okay. So again, if I write pop item only, it will actually delete the last item of the dictionary. So again, if I write this dict dot pop item like this, so again, if we press enter, we can see that the last element, that was the key value pair of color and red, has been now popped. So again, if I write this dict, so you can see that the last element, that was the key was color and the value was red, has been removed now. Okay. And again, there is another keyword called as del. Okay. Now again, if I just write del here, and if I write this list, this dictionary, for example, and here what we will do is we can give the name of the key in square brackets. So suppose we give the name of the key as year. Okay. And now if I print this dictionary, you can see that the whole element with the key value as year has been removed. Okay. So again, we can use the del keyword as well. Okay. Okay. Now again, then there is a clear keyword. Now what does the clear keyword do? It will actually clear all the items of the dictionary. Let us see. So if I write this dict dot clear, and now if I print this dict, again it will be a empty dictionary like this. Okay. And also, if I want to just delete the whole list, I do not want to make it empty, but I want to delete everything of the dictionary. So again, we can use the del keyword. So del. So if I write this dict, so again, if I print this dict now, it will give me an error. Why? Because this dict is not present only. Okay. So again, we can use a loop. So again, so for this, we will have to, suppose, let us copy this. So this dict will be equal to this. Okay, now if I print this dict, okay, this is the dictionary that we have. Okay, so again, you can loop through a dictionary using the for loop. Okay, so what we can do is we can write a for loop. So for I in this dict. Okay, and if I print, if I want to print the values, so what I will do is, so I in this case will be it will iterate over the keys. Okay, it will not iterate over the values. So again, if I want to print the values, so what I will do is I will write this dict of the keys that we are iterating on. Okay, so if I print this, you can see that we are actually printing the values. Okay, so again, to Okay, so this is for the values. Okay, so what we can do also is, if I want to print the keys only, so what I will do, I will just print I and not the values. So if I print like this, we will be actually printing the keys and not the values. Okay, we can also use two more things. Either we can use values or we can use items. So again, suppose if I write for I in this dict dot values, so and if I now print I, sorry, so again you can see that we can print the values here as well. Again, if I want to print the items only, okay, so what I can do, I can write the same thing, but in this case I will write not the values, but I will write what, items. So if I write items, so what I can do, I can print I, and let us see what gets printed. So again you can see that all the elements in the form of tuples will be printed like this. Okay, so also we can use keys as well. So what we can do, we can write not for items but for keys. So we can write this, and now if I print I can see that I can print only the keys like this. Okay, so I hope it's very much clear to you that how we can use a for loop to print the values, the keys, the items as well, right? Using iterators, not using iterators. So again, we can do all these kind of things using loops in the case of dictionaries. Okay. Okay. Yes, this is the thing that I was talking about. So we can use, so in the previous example, we used values, this dict dot values. In this case, we are using this dict dot keys. And lastly, we can use what? This dict dot items. So we can print the same thing. Okay. Okay. There are, acha, whenever we want to copy a dictionary, so in the case of a list, if you remember that if I have a list 1 as 1, 2, 3, and 4, and if I have a list 2, I can just write list 2 is equal to list of list 1. What happened? Okay, just a second. Okay, so now if I print list 2, again you can see that we can copy a list using just the equal to method. So either we can write list 2 equal to list 1. So whenever we write list 2 equal to list 1, the values of list 1 will be copied into into list 2. Okay, but in the case of dictionary, you cannot copy a dictionary by simply typing dict 1 equal to dict 2 or dict 2 equal to dict 1. Why? Because dict 2 will only be a reference to dict 1, and the changes made in dict 1 will automatically be also made to dict 2. Okay, so to understand this, first let us see this example. Okay, so to copy a dictionary, we will use the copy method like this. Okay, so again, if I have this dict, so this is the dictionary, and suppose we have another dictionary called as my dict, and let us say that it's a dictionary. Okay, now what I can do is I can write my dict is equal to this dict dot copy like this. Okay, and now if I print my dict, so you can see that the values, the items of this dict has been copied into my dict. Okay. Okay, another way to make a copy is using the inbuilt dict method. So again, if you remember in the list, so we can write a list and we can copy it like this. But again, in the case of dictionary, we can do the same thing. So again, if I delete my dict like this, and then now if I write my dict equal to dict of this dict, so again if I print my dict like this, so again you can see that we have copied the elements of this dict into my dict. Okay, again someone has chatted something. What? Okay, Bhutaditya, don't give the attendance now. Okay, anyways, okay, a dictionary can also contain dictionaries that is called as nested dictionaries. Okay, so as I was talking earlier, a dictionary can store lists, it can store integers, it can store anything, any variable. It can also store dictionaries as well. Okay, so which means if a dictionary is storing a dictionary within itself, so we call it as a nested dictionary. So again you can see that my family is a dictionary, right? And the first element of my family dictionary is what? Child one. Now child one also is a dictionary, and the first element of child one is what? Name and the date of birth. Okay, again we can see that. What's the chat? Okay. Okay. Again, the next element is what? Child 2. So child 2 again is a dictionary. So the name is what? Tobias, and the date of birth is what? 2007. Okay. And lastly, there is a third element, and third element is a dictionary as well. So again, the first element of the child 3 dictionary is what? The name, that is Linus, and the date of birth is 2011, like this. Okay. So if you want to add 3 dictionaries into a new dictionary, what we can do? So either what we can do is we can create this dictionary. So again, let us do this. So suppose we have a dictionary called as child 1, and we have the name as, for example, what's the example? Emil, and the year of birth is what? Suppose 2000, like this. Okay. Suppose we have a child 2 and the year of birth is 2005, and the name is, what was the name? Tobias. Okay. So we have this as child 2. And lastly, suppose we have a child 3 and date of birth is 2008, for example, and the name is, for example, Linus. And let us say this is the child 3. Okay. So what I can do is I can just write that my family is a dictionary, and let us say that it's a dictionary like this. And in my family, what we can do, what we can store? We can store in my family, we can store the dictionary. So we can store child 1. Sorry, we can write child 1 equal to what? Child 1. So that's the dictionary, right? We can write child 2 as child 2. So child 2 is a dictionary, right? And lastly, we can write child 3 is equal to what? Child 3. So child 3 is a dictionary in this case. Okay. Sorry, just a second. Right. Okay. What happened? Oh, it's not equal to, it's actually a colon. What happened? Oh, my family, sorry, my family is equal to. Very sorry. Okay. And now if I print my family like this, you can see that there are 3 elements, and all the elements, there are keys. So the value of keys are what? Child 1, child 2, and child 3. And again, the corresponding values for all the keys are actually what? Dictionaries. So this is what? Nothing but a nested dictionary. Okay. So I hope I'm clear till this, and that will be the end of dictionaries for you as well. Okay. So in the next class, what we will do is we will study the basics of if then else. We'll study the basics of loops, and if possible, then we can start with the functions as well. Okay. So I hope it is clear till this. I will stop the sharing first.
Sir, can we store lists and dictionaries?
Yes. Ekdom. We can do that. We can do that. Just try.
Okay.
If you're unable to do it, kindly let me know.
Okay, sir.
Yep. Okay. So what I will do is in the chat box. Just a second. Okay. So in the chat box, I will paste. I will first paste the Google form link. So in the Google form, just give your attendance, right? And lastly, what I will do is I will just copy the Google Classroom code and I will paste it in the chat box. Okay. So again, just note down the Google Classroom code, join the Google Classroom. So for the previous 2 days, you will get the slides as well as you will get the video lectures as well. And for today as well, I will update. I will upload the PPTs as well as the video lectures by 6:30, I guess. Okay. So again, just join the classroom and you will get everything in the classroom. Okay. Okay, so if you don't have any problems with today's class, so you can go and fill up the form, Google form for the attendance, and you can leave the session. I will be here till 6:05. So again, if you are facing any problems with today's class, just stay back and ask me the question. Okay, thank you.